Radha Krishna Gatir Mama. Jaya Radha Krishna 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 Jaya Radha. Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jaya Guru Deva 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 Jaya Guru Deva. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Premanandi Hari Hari Bol
Hari Hari Bol.
So today I'm going to sing Jai Radhe Jai Krishna Jai Vrindavan. Okay. Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavana. Govinda Gopinatha Madana Madana Mohana. Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavana. Shri Govinda Gopinatha Madana Mohana. Jaya Radhe Jaya Jaya Vrindavana.
Shri Govinda Gopinatha
Madana Mohana. Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavana. Shri Govinda Gopinatha Madana Mohana. Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavana. Shri Govinda Gopinatha Madana Mohana. Shama Kund Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana Kalindi Yamuna Jaya Jaya Mahavana. Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana Kalindi Yamuna Jaya जय महावानम् श्यामा कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन कालिंदी यमुना जय जय महावानम् श्यामा कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन कालिंदी यमुना जय जय महावानम् जय जय राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय कृष्णा जय वृंदावन श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन जय राधे जय कृष्णा जय वृंदावन श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन जय राधे जय राधे जय कृष्णा जय वृंदावन श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन जय राधे जय कृष्णा जय वृंदावन श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन केशी घटवंसी वटा द्वादशाकानन जहाँ सब लीला कोइलो श्री नंदन
केशी घटवंसी वटा द्वादशाकानन जहाँ सब लीला कोइलो श्री नंदन केशी घटवंसी वटा द्वादशाकानन जहाँ सब लीला कोइलो श्री नंदन केशी घटवंसी वटा द्वादशाकानन जहाँ सब लीला कोइलो श्री नंदन
जय राधे जय कृष्णा जय वृंदावन श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन जय राधे
जय कृष्णा जय
वृंदावन श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन जय राधे जय कृष्णा जय वृंदावन श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन बोलिए जय राधे जय कृष्णा जय वृंदावन श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन श्री नंद यशोदा जय 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 धेनुवत्सगा श्रीनंद यशोदा जय जय गोपगा श्रीदामादि जय जय धेनुवत्सगा श्रीनंद यशोदा जय जय गोपगा श्रीदामादि जय जय धेनुवत्सगा
नंद यशोदा
जय
जय गोपगा
श्रीदामादि जय जय धेनुवत्सगा जय राधे जय कृष्ण जय वृंदावन श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन जय राधे जय कृष्ण जय वृंदावन श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन जय राधे जय कृष्ण जय वृंदावन श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन जय राधे जय कृष्ण जय वृंदावन श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन जय वृषभानु जय कीर्तदा सुंदरी जय पूर्ण मासी जय अभिरानगरी जय भानु जय श्री सदा सुंदरी जय पूर्णमासी जय अभिरानगरी जय वृषभानु जय कीर्तिदा सुंदरी जय पूर्णमासी जय अभिरानगरी जय वृषभानु जय कीर्तिदा सुंदरी जय पूर्णमासी जय अभिरानगरी जय राधे जय कृष्ण जय वृंदावन श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन जय राधे जय कृष्ण जय वृंदावन श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन जय राधे जय कृष्ण जय वृंदावन Shri Govinda Gopinatha Madana Mohana Jayo Radhe Jayo Krishna Jayo Vrindavana Shri Govinda Gopinatha Madana Mohana Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavana Shri Govinda Gopinatha Madana Mohan Mike Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavana Shri Govinda Gopinatha Madana Mohana Jaya Jaya Gopeshwara Vrindavana Majha Jaya Jaya Krishna Sakha Batu Dhwaja Raja Jaya Jaya Gopeshwara Hanuman Jaya Jaya Krishna Sakha Batu Dhwaja Raja Jaya Jaya Gopeshwara Vrindavana Majha Jaya Jaya Krishna Sakha Batu Badraja Jaya Jaya Gopeshwara Vrindavana Majha Jaya 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 Krishna Sakha Batu Dhwaja Raja Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavana Shri Govinda Gopinatha Madana Mohana Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavana Shri Govinda Gopinatha Madana Mohana Jaya Rama Ghata Jaya Jaya Rohinandan Jaya Jaya Vrindavana Basi Jata Jan Jaya Rama Ghata Jaya Jaya Rohinandan Jaya Jaya Vrindavana Basi Jata Jam Jaya Rama Ghata Jaya Jaya Rohinandan Jaya Jaya Vrindavana Basi Jata Jam Jaya Rama Ghata Jaya Rohinandana Jaya Jaya Vrindavana Basi Jata Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavana Shri Govinda Gopinatham Madana Mohana Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavana Shri Govinda Gopinatha Madana Mohana Jaya Dvija Patni Jaya Naga Kanyagan Bhakti Tejahara Pailo Govinda Charana Jaya Dveja Patni Jaya Naga Kanyagan Bhakti Tejahara Pailo Govinda Charana Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavana Shri Govinda Gopinatha Madana Mohana Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavana Shri Govinda Gopinatha Madana Mohana Shri Govinda Gopinatha Madana Mohana बोलो कृष्ण कन्हैया लाल की जय राधा रानी की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय
You have a cold? Huh? Allergy. Oh. You allergic to Austin? Pollen? Okay. Is there some season that's not so bad? Or it's all bad? Huh? I trade you bodies, but I don't, you can't do that. I feel bad that you have like that. Some people have that situation. On a count of three, let's move forward, because people that come late, people do come late, people that are in the back against the wall, come forward, please, because otherwise it's going to be a disruption later on. It'll probably be another disruption later on anyways. Move the mridanga, and you can come forward about 2 seats. I've been through this a few times. Okay. We're friendly. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Satarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasad Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We'll probably have to pick some Ram bhajans before class because go straight from what you were singing to this is a little different. I'm sure there's come up with some. Prayers to Lord Ram. Now this is just going to take some verses and of course embellish. There's a whole chapter of very wonderful verses to Lord Ramachandra. And it tells the story or touches on the story, and it gives some of his glories. So we'll begin. Of course, speaking about Ramachandra without Hanuman is like Sita without Ram or Ram without Sita. They inextractably, because of his fastidious love for Ramachandra, Hanuman is a celebrated personality. His bhakti is celebrated, and he's celebrated. So here's a nice photograph of the hill. Anjana, or the mother Anjana, lived on top of a hill, and she was a Vanara, and Vayu somehow became very attracted to her, and as a result, Hanuman was born. And when Hanuman was born, as the son of Vayu and Anjana, she was the wife of Keshari, a powerful Vanara in Mount Sumeru. And what happened is, as you see in the painting, Hanuman, as children sometimes get hungry, Hanuman became hungry. He saw a nice fruit in the sky. And being the son of Vayu, zoom, off he went, chasing the fruit in the sky. But Indra got a little nervous, like he sometimes gets nervous, and he threw his thunderbolt weapon and hit Hanuman in the jaw. And when Hanuman was hit in the jaw, he fell down and down and down and down and down and came in for a crash landing on the top of a hill. And we narrated this already. And so Vayu, becoming angry at Indra, he withdrew the movements of air in the whole universe. And everyone was suffocating, including the demigods. And so they appealed to Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma, pictured here on the far right with Lord Shiva and many other devas. They came and they gave their blessing, means they gave their some special power, some special shakti, some special weapons, some special this and that. And Vayu was happy. So Hanuman had all these powers, and he started doing monkey business with those powers, and the sages cursed him that he would forget all of his powers until he would be reminded. So here's a nice painting. There's Sampati, pictured on the left, and there's Jambavan, the bear, amongst all the Vanaras, and he was with that group that went in the southerly direction, and Sampati was able with his eyes, the eyes of a vulture, to see 8 yojanas, big distance, all the way to Lanka and verify that the Sita is there. So they all decided together that 2 things. They should verify that Sita is there and inform Sita, don't harm yourself and don't let harm come to you. Ram will come and redeem you. So who's going to do that, and who can So you know the story. Different Vanaras said they can jump this distance, that distance, the other distance. And one said he could make it all the way, but he couldn't make it back. So you got to make it back. So fortunately, Jambavan knew of this curse of the demigods, that Hanuman had all these powers, but which he would forget until he was reminded. So he reminded Hanuman of what his childhood was like, his abilities, and this whole story of being hit in the jaw. In fact, that's the meaning, Hanuman, the disfigured jaw, hit by the thunderbolt weapon of Indra. And so remembering by that benediction of the Brahmanas, remembering his powers, he started getting bigger and bigger and really big, so big that picking up an elephant was like picking up your bead bag. Sometimes bead bags can be heavy, but... And readying himself for the giant leap. And very important, he offered prayers to his guru. This is the only mention. There's no detail of how he was given instructions by the sun god, but he offered prayers to his guru, readying himself for the journey across the sea. And when he went across the sea, we'll hear another presentation, is the obstacles that he met. But one of those obstacles was waiting for at the other end, Lankini. And Lankini forbid him from entering Lanka. And because she was a lady, he didn't really harm her, but, enough of a blow with his left fist, not his right one, to knock her over. And then she realized, this is it. There was this prophecy, the day will come when I'll be struck by a monkey. And so, may you be successful. And she ran off and told Ravana, look out, trouble is now in Lanka. And another heroic deed, he rescued Lakshmana. There were two occasions. Shakti Shela weapon, fired by or hit Lakshmana, and he was laid low. There's Ram holding his head. And there goes Hanuman, because the herb that would rescue him was way, way, way north in a hill, Gandhamandana hill, and Hanuman couldn't find the herb, so he brought the hill. Zoom. And when the herb was administered by Ramachandra, then Lakshmana was revived. But later during the battle, a second occasion happened. This was the lance made by Mayadanava, given to Ravana, pierced the chest. Very serious. And so off he went, because the Suseshna, the Ayurvedic physician, needed certain herbs. And there are different versions, by the way. One says that the place he went to was Mount Mahodaya. Another says, this is from Bhakti Siddhanta's writings, he went again to Gandhamandana hill. But in any case, he brought the whole hill back. They saw the hill. They saw him coming with the hill, their association with that little cap on his head. Jambavan sitting at the feet of Lakshmana. And he administered the herbs. According to one version, there were 4 different herbs, and he administered all 4, and Lakshmana was revived. So Hanuman played an important role. We heard, we already heard yesterday. Yes, yesterday. We heard a little bit about the glories of Hanuman, the special position of Hanuman in relation to the Ramayana. So here's a nice description, starting with Hanuman. So this is the beginning of Canto 5, Chapter 19, text number 1, because Canto 5, Chapter 19 is part of Vedic cosmology. And in Vedic cosmology, one of the things that's described is Kim Purusha Varsha, the 9 sets of mountain ranges, 8 sets of mountain ranges, the 9 Varshas, and one of them is Kim Purusha Varsha. My dear king, in Kim Purusha Varsha, the great devotee Hanuman is always engaged with the inhabitants of that land in devotional service to Lord Ramachandra, the elder brother of Lakshmana and the dear husband of Sita Devi. This is a nice painting. There's Ravana in a giant form holding up Lord Ramachandra on a lotus. Nice painting. A host of Gandharvas is always engaged in chanting the glories of Ramachandra. That chanting is always extremely auspicious. Hanumanji and Arishtasena, the chief person in Kim Purusha Varsha, constantly hear those glories with complete attention. Hanuman chants the following mantras. So we're introduced to Hanuman in Ramayana when they, Ram and Lakshman, were sent to find Sugriva because Sugriva was in a similar predicament. The recommendation was find Sugriva, make friends with Sugriva together as friends. You both have the same predicament. You can help one another to regain your wife. Practical. So as they were approaching the mountain where Sugriva was hiding or taking shelter because his brother wouldn't come there, they spied these 2 sages moving about, but sages dressed like sages but carrying bow and arrow. And so Sugriva was nervous. Uh-oh. Maybe this is a trick. And worried this way, that way, the other way. So he sent his very very qualified minister. Hanuman. And Hanuman, amongst the abilities that Hanuman had, he had shape-changing abilities. So it was advised, change your shape into a sadhu. Don't appear as a monkey. Appear as a sadhu. And you go before them as a sadhu, and you check them out. Disguise yourself. It's not too good a disguise. He looks like a monkey. But the pastime says, immediately, as soon as Hanuman was in the presence of Lord Ramachandra and Lakshmana, immediately understood they're friend, they're not foe. And so he immediately disclosed everything about himself, who his name is, what he was there for. I'm the minister of Sugriva. Sugriva's up there on Rishimukh mountain, and he wants to make friendship with you. And Ram does, it's really nice. The language and the composition of Ramayana is so sweet. It's hard just to tell the story without touching on the sweetness. He doesn't even look at Hanuman. He looks directly at Lakshman and just compliments his erudition. His words were precise and spoken so nicely, and his voice inflection. He's a very elevated personality and highly educated. I mean, he's omniscient lords, but he's making these comments about the characteristics of Hanuman. And Hanuman's already unfolded, but he was to suggest that, friend. So Ram then identified his purpose. I'm the son of Dasarath. This is my brother, Lakshman. We're searching for Sita. We were advised to find Sugriva. Do you know how we can find Sugriva? And of course, he knew how to find Sugriva. And he put them on his shoulders and carried them up the mountain, his first little service. Because he manifested a big form, and carrying them on his shoulders was easy because he's Hanuman. And he narrates his history of how the ring of Ramachandra was given to him, to Hanuman, to present to Sita. And now here he's bringing, there's Hanuman bringing Ramchandra in the presence of Sugriva. Sugriva is the one with the crown on, in case you couldn't figure it out. And making all introductions. And from there, the rest of the story unfolds. So here's the next verse. Let me please your lordship by chanting the Bija mantra Omkar. I wish to offer my respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, who is the best among the most highly elevated personalities. Your lordship is the reservoir of all good qualities of Aryans, people who are advanced. Your character and behavior are always consistent, and you always control your senses and mind, acting just like an ordinary human being. You exhibit exemplary character to teach others how to behave. There is a touchstone that can be used to examine the quality of gold, but you are like a touchstone that can verify all good qualities. You are worshipped by Brahmanas, who are the foremost of all devotees. You, the Supreme Person, are the King of Kings, and therefore I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I mean, there's a whole chapter. We're not going to cover the whole chapter, but Hanuman has glories of Lord Ramachandra that he really, really, really relishes. And of course, he narrates, he's not Valmiki, but he's narrating the pastimes of Ramachandra. He knows his prowess and his gentleness at the same time. There's this wonderful description, as you know, Vishwamitra Muni brought Ram, after killing the demoness in the forest, he had another service for them, to deliver Ahalya and to meet Sita. So he's a Muni who's a matchmaker. Sometimes sannyasis are supposed to do like that. I don't know. Anyway. So there's a whole story. We're going to hear another time, the whole story of the bow of Lord Shiva and how the bow of Lord Shiva got in the hands of Janak. The whole nice history. But you see the bow is pretty big. Lord Shiva is pretty big, and the bow is really big. And the person who was to marry his daughter, he knew it could only be the personality of Godhead, because my daughter's of that quality. So the challenge was for a potential marriage partner for her to lift the bow, just to lift the bow and string the bow. So no one could do it with failure and failure and failure. When Ram came, looked like an ordinary person. They brought out the bow. How many? 30 wheels on a cart? 30? Yeah? 300. 300 men. Okay. I remember 30 wheels. Is that right? You don't know. 300 men. Okay. Big bow. And not only he lifted it, not only he strung it, but he broke the bow. It made a big sound. As you see, the big sound is so powerful. People are being knocked over by the powerful sound of the bow breaking. And Vishwamitra Muni knew that that's what would happen. And so the marriage of Ram and Sita took place right there in the palace of Janak. Here's the Janaka Puri today, the kingdom of King Janak. Nice place. Very fancy, very ornate, and well preserved. And who knows over the centuries how it was reconstructed, but it's very nice. And another glory that we heard already was Bharata was engaged in worshipping the shoes of Lord Ramachandra, but he took this vow. I'm just repeating what you already know, but he took this vow that if Ram doesn't return after 14 years, he's entering fire and give up his life. Very, very intently attached. Bharata, very intently attached to Lord Ramachandra. Now here's another scene. There's Hanuman. So this is, at least the scene is on their return journey, because it wasn't before that the worship of the Shiva Linga. I requested you all to receive 2 documents, one that said it didn't happen and the other said that it happened. Because it's not in Valmiki Ramayana. And some people are, Valmiki Ramayana is it. If it's not in Valmiki Ramayana, we don't talk about it because it's not in Valmiki Ramayana, period. However, there are some versions that say that the personality of Godhead, Lord Ramachandra, worshipped Lord Shiva, a Shiva Linga specifically. And the name is Ramalinga. It's Rama Linga, given by Lord Shiva himself, because Lord Shiva himself was the worshipper of Lord Ramachandra. But here we see Ramachandra worshipping what appears he's worshipping Lord Shiva. And according to some versions of Ramayana that have this description, Sita made the Shiva Linga. So this is after Sita was restored. Rameshwara indicates that he is a great personality whose worshipable deity is Lord Rama. Rama Ishwara. Rama Ishwara. The Lord Shiva's Ishwara is Ramachandra, his worshipable deity. So I'm not going to go through the different iterations. I'll mention a couple. One of the documents that you received is a short one, and then there's a long one. The long one is one that's like, it didn't happen. And the short one is, and largely by acharyas of the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya that say it didn't happen. It didn't happen. Ask them, they'll tell you it didn't happen. So where did it come from? Somebody made it up. It just didn't happen. But Madhvacharya says it happened. And he gave 3 reasons, and it's in this little document, that refer to some incident that one of Lord Brahma's heads was cut off by Lord Shiva. And so this is Madhvacharya. Ramchandra was forgiving Lord Shiva for that bad act and purifying him by worship. Govindaraj, on the other hand, he comments about the same event and says when it speaks of Lord Shiva, the Shiva means auspicious, and the reference is to Samudra. Sometimes our acharyas, they look at each other in the eye and they say different things. And then one answer to that is, that's okay. There are different days of Brahma, and different days of Brahma, different things happen. So this can be right, and that one can be right. Different days of Brahma. Haribol. Kalpaveda. I put it in, I left it in. I decided, I thought about whether I should even go through this. But it's valuable. Here's a very nice example. It's valuable to honor differences amongst superiors, and there are superiors we accept as authorities. And it's not always the answer is culpa beta. Here's a really nice classic example that's within our more recent time frame. In Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 1, there's a verse amongst the chapter 1 verses that says the armies of the Pandavas were sufficient, or another rendering is they're insufficient. They're opposite words, opposite meanings. And one of the acharyas that said sufficient was Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And then the other acharya was his very fastidious follower and disciple, Shiksha disciple, was Baladev Vidyabhusan, and he said the opposite. In their commentaries of Bhagavad Gita, and that's not like, long, long ago. Different commentators said different things. So how do you process that? And there are different ways to process something like that. It's a little off the topic of the prayers of Hanuman to Ramachandra, but it's an important principle to understand. One of the rules in taking from Sanskrit to English is the exact meaning must be held intact. You can't interpret by whim. But if a Sanskrit rule is followed, one word can mean this, the same word can mean that, the same word can mean another thing, the same word can mean another thing. And one cannot fault the rendering depending upon, is it in keeping with the actual meaning? And our acharyas like looking through different lenses at the same set of phrases, not just one word, but same set of words in Sanskrit. It can mean this, it can mean that. And so the intention of the author, in this case it's Valmiki, or Vyasadeva, the author or compiler, he could mean this, he could mean that, he could mean the other thing, and they're all fine. And provided it's not inconsistent with the Siddhanta, the overall picture of, for example, the personality of Godhead is supreme, and we're all his subordinate, for example, or the soul is eternal, for example, never created, never destroyed, for example. But then shades of meaning can come, and it's just a way of one acharya or another acharya relishing, according to their taste, the topics. Sanatana Goswami does that a lot, by the way. He'll take a section of the Bhagavatam, because he loves the Bhagavatam, and he'll say, this set of words can mean this, the same set of words can mean that, and there's a certain taste to that that's different than this, and then there's another meaning, and there's another taste with that other meaning, and they're all fine. He doesn't say, I like this one, or this one's right, or the other ones are wrong, or something like that. He doesn't do that. It's churning the topic. That's one of the ways of looking at how same terminology can be understood in a different way. And, for example, Sri Vaishnavas, like Govindaraj is a Sri Vaishnava Acharya, and he's fastidious. Lord Vishnu is the supreme. And so it didn't happen is the position. Whatever version of Ramayana that presents it, it's okay, but it didn't happen. They don't trash that version of Ramayana. They just have 16 reasons why it didn't happen. So that document that you received, one of them is like that. A devotee that's a lover of Ramayana, very deeply involved in Ramayana, he compiled it because I asked him, what's your understanding of this, what you see on the screen? And he said, I'll compile something. And boy, he compiled something. He did a lot of research. And he's real serious about it. So I sent him this Madhvacharya, by the way, but Madhvacharya said it did happen, but it was a little different than he countered saying, I ended with that. Govindaraj says when it refers to Lord Shiva, it's Samudra. It's not the Lord Shiva that's pictured here. It didn't happen. Okay. It happened, it didn't happen. So this is a photograph of the place where it happened or it didn't happen. And this is the Pushpak of Vimana came in for a landing, and Ram wanted to do what he wanted to do, and he did or he didn't worship Lord Shiva or honor Lord Shiva as the best of the devotees. There's another difference. One difference in Ramayanas is when Samudra didn't come, one version of Ramayana is Lord Ramachandra shot an arrow into the ocean, another as he glanced at the ocean and the ocean started to boil. So whether it's an arrow or his glance depends on which Ramayana version you read. But to boil the ocean doesn't matter if it's a glance or an arrow. It's like, how are you going to boil the ocean? It takes a lot to boil a pot of water. What to speak of the ocean? And Samudra realized, he's not an ordinary. He looked like an ordinary person, so I wasn't paying attention. Now I better pay attention. He is very powerful. Here's the next prayer, verse number 4. Again, this is Kim Purusha Varsha. This is Hanuman and Arishtasena and others singing the glories of Lord Ramachandra till the end of the universe. The Lord, whose pure form, Satchitananda, is uncontaminated by the modes of material nature, can be perceived by pure consciousness. In the Vedanta, this is the translation, because the Bhagavatam is a commentary on Vedanta, right? Is that right? You sure? Yeah. In the Vedanta, he is described as being one without a second. Because of his spiritual potency, he, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Satchitananda Lord, he is untouched by the contamination of material nature, and because he is not subjected to material vision, he is known as transcendental. He has no material activities, nor has he a material form or name. only in pure consciousness, this is Prabhupada's insertion, or Krishna consciousness, or Ram consciousness, can one perceive the transcendental form of the Lord. Let us be firmly fixed at the lotus feet of Lord Ramachandra, and let us offer our respectful obeisances unto those transcendental lotus feet. Now, this is a celebrated painting. When we spoke yesterday evening about, remember that picture, the nice picture of Lakshmana? We're going to see that picture again. It's just that's part. Sita was massaging Lord Ramachandra's legs with his arrow and bow by his side, and Lakshman didn't sleep. He was guarding the personality of Godhead. And Lakshman was constantly by the Lord's side. Here, there's Sita and Ram, and Lakshman's watching, while Guha, who is a tribal king, this is the first day of their exile from Ayodhya. They got to the side of a river, and an Ashada king greeted them and received them so nicely. Here he is washing his feet. After washing his feet, he wants to give him some forest fruits and roots and serve him as nicely as he could. Immediately, the Nishada king had that kind of regard for the personality of Godhead. Here's a nice photograph of the place where they crossed the river. Now there's we saw that, did we see that? When to cross the river, there was a boat. Did we see that painting? No? Okay, I'll tell you, because this is what's coming ahead. I'm going to end here. There was a boat, and the boatman was going to allow Sita and Lakshman to get on the boat, but the last one to get on the boat was Lord Ramachandra. He said, no, I heard about him. He put his foot on a rock and it turned into a lady. I already got a wife. No way, he's going to get on the boat. And so Guha understood the mood. So Guha got a pitcher and washed his feet so he could get on the boat. And they crossed the river on the boatman's boat. So the flow, I could go on, the flow of the prayers of Hanuman follow the pastimes. I mean, it's natural. He's not simply reciting Valmiki Ramayana. He's reciting his own prayers, and till the end of time, till the universe comes to a close. That's what he does, and he's so happy, singing the names, singing the glories, singing the qualities, singing the pastimes. Now, this is Vyasadev's version of what he's doing in Kimpurusha Varsha. But it's the nature of a servant. In addition to liking to serve, as Hanuman would be happy, triple happy to serve in any capacity, that a slight indication of Ram would like something, and there he goes to do that something. But aside from the doing, there's the liking to sing the glories of. And he likes to sing the glories of from morning till night. And no fatigue, singing the glories of. And that's his life. Inside, outside, all the time, in all circumstances. So what do you do? What do you do when there's separation? Because much of Hanuman's life, certainly after Ramachandra's pastimes ended, what association did he had? Hanuman was with Ramachandra in Ayodhya for the whole duration. How many years? 30,000 years he ruled? 11,000 years, thank you. 11,000 years. So he was there right till the very end. But then when he left, what do you do? He's like, he was attached, transcendentally attached before, and then even more attached during, and then he's gone. You sing the glories of. I mean, it's something very similar to, not the same, but something very similar to how you'll find devotees of Srila Prabhupada through the time that they spent serving him. It's, glorifying Srila Prabhupada in the midst of a Bhagavatam class is to be expected because that's where the heart is. A little on the same note, I'll end with this. On the same note, there are a number of biographies of Srila Prabhupada, and one that I had been wanting to read, but being too busy, I didn't get to read, was Shyamasundara's biography, Chasing Rhinos with the Swami. You've heard of that title? Yeah. Well, somebody tipped me off. He, the author, made an audio book of volume 1, part 1. So I got it. And it's about something like 24 hours of audio for volume 1. But he said it didn't sell so well, so he didn't make volume 2, volume 3. So I listened to volume 1, and I liked it so much, I asked somebody that likes him and likes the book. They made an audio recording of the next 2 parts, part 2, part 3. And I just finished part 2, and it's like, he's a very good writer, and his love for Prabhupada just comes out again and again. It's very, very delectable. So I find that, a sense of being connected with Prabhupada even more so just by hearing, because there are many activities that he was engaged with directly that I was off distributing books and doing traveling Sankirtan and other nice brahmachari activities, while others were doing other things with Prabhupada here and there and all around the world. And it'll help. It helps me, so I'm sure it'll help anyone. There's so many things we can do to help nourish our Krishna consciousness, but because I just did that one, I can encourage it. It's really nice. Really nice. Hearing the glories of. So that's what Hanuman is doing, singing the glories of. And when's the universe going to end? He's going to do that till the universe ends, because that was Ram's instruction. He's got a lot of subject matter. It may be some repetition, but that's okay. So it's a nice chapter. So if you later, on your own leisure time, want to hear the glories, some persons really like, I was told in the course of my visit here, they really like Ramayana. They really like Ramachandra. So that's a nice place to go. Chapter 19, Canto 5, and Hanuman glorifying his worshipable Lord Ramachandra. Okay, so we've been going for almost 50 minutes. And I'm going to end because some people get restless. And let's see if there's some discussion, because before the last 2 times there have been lots of nice discussion. They kept the class a little on the shorter side purposefully. Comments or questions? Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for the class. I was just curious, is Hanuman an eternal associate of Ramachandra in the spiritual world?
What do you think?
I mean, like if
No, I'm asking what you think.
yeah, I mean, I think so. He
Yeah.
should be like.
Yeah.
So I'm just like confused on the part like demigods giving him powers, and like he being someone who is from a spiritual.
He's superior to the demigods. Hanuman is superior to the demigods.
Yeah.
The demigods should honor Hanuman. So here's a detail. I don't have the answer, but I can find out because I know people that will know. He is a Vanara in part because that was the pastime. The earthly pastime was the demigods were requested by Lord Vishnu, create praja who can assist me on earth, and they'll have powers like your powers. So one by one by one. Each of the, as intimate associates of Lord Ramachandra had their demigod parent. And in the Vanara community, because that was one of the groups of individuals that Ravana didn't get a benediction from Brahma. So that way, Vanaras and Jambavan. He didn't say bears either. So the form of Hanuman is as a Vanara. Now, back to your question. In the spiritual world, is he a Vanara? Is he there as a Vanara in the spiritual world? He's there in the spiritual world, and is that his form? I'll see if there are a few people that I ask these kinds of questions of, and we'll see if I get an answer. Could you send me right now, send me a text message so I can ask the people that know the answers to these questions, or may, and I'll report it back.
Thank you, bro.
Okay. I like the question. You have another question?
Yeah, I was just like, the reason I have this question is, you mentioned one part where as soon as Hanuman saw Ramachandra, immediately he started feeling like a lost connection or something that he...
Yes.
So that cannot happen immediately once you see some person who is...
Well, he is an elevated individual.
Yeah.
Uniquely elevated individual. And so with that unique, so bhakti was there.
Yeah.
Because without bhakti, you can't. So he had bhakti. But one might say his bhakti came from his father. The father passed on bhakti to his son, one might say.
Bhakti cannot be instructed or like...
No, bhakti is transmitted. It's not just... He was a devotee of Ramachandra, but even in his childhood, there's no description in Valmiki Ramayana of how he was instructed by the sun god. But he had the sun god as his guru. Yeah. So by the time he's, the minister of Sugriva, he's had the sun god as his guru.
Yeah. And sun god was taught by the...
And therefore he had the capacity to know. As soon as he saw him, this is the personality of Godhead. He's not a foe, he's a friend. He's not some trick. It's not a Ravana trick or some other kind of trick. Or Valmiki trick. He's the real thing. So that intelligence, spiritual intelligence, comes from whom? The personality of God. It's super soul. So because of it being a devotee, one can say for this reason, that reason. One might say he had a natural inclination because if he's an eternal associate, he's existing in Ayodhya, in the spiritual world, then he's carrying it. Yeah. But revived in pastime by his father and certainly the sun god.
Yeah. Probably, yeah.
Okay. Thoughtful question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
One question. Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you for wonderful presentation. So my question is, like, whoever the devotees of Lord Rama, if they remembered Rama at the end of their life, they go to Ayodhya Dham.
Yes.
So is that applicable? Yadgatva nivartante taddama paramam mama?
Yeah. Yeah, the principle applies. Now, Krishna speaking it, but, then what's the relationship between Ram and Krishna? Rama, Chandra, and Krishna. His expansion. So he's the personality of Godhead also, and he has his Dham. It's in Haridham. We saw the nice chart.
So is that applicable for any spiritual planet? Like Narayana,
Yeah.
Vamana?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. A specific form of the Lord? Yes.
Oh.
They have their place, and one goes to that place. It's very accommodating, customized.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yes.
This is regarding Kim Purusha Varsha Maharaj. Kim Purusha Varsha. I heard this is like loka of Vanaras. Mainly Vanaras live there.
That's my understanding.
Right.
I don't know the detail.
Okay. My question is about like during Ramayana period, all the Vanaras were living in Kishkinda.
All the Vanaras were living in Kishkinda because they were populating Kishkinda. But, but doesn't mean before Ram's Leela there weren't Vanaras. Or there wasn't Kim Purusha Varsha being populated by Vanaras. Doesn't mean that.
Okay. That's fine.
Anything else? Yeah.
Maybe this is not that significant, but I want to ask you.
Go ahead.
So there is no question. I want to take an opportunity. So when I heard your name, Romapada, so I remember a friend of Dasharatha. So is that the only Romapada or any other designatories there?
Here's a little Prabhupada story. At the time of my initiation, there was an assistant, a secretary. His name was Aravind Das, or Aravind Prabhu. And Aravind Prabhu was having because of familiarity breeds contempt, he was being victimized by contempt because of familiarity. Mm-hmm. And later he left because of that. Because of it was offensive to his spiritual master. And there's consequences of that. So at the time of my initiation, what happened was, it was really, really nice. I mean, Prabhupada, there was beads hanging on Prabhupada's microphone stand, and one by one, because he had chanted on the beads before coming, and then the beads were removed, and when it was time for the next. So Prabhupada, Aravind named my name. Prabhupada took the beads, and Aravind Prabhu said Romapada. He didn't say, who it meant. He just said Romapada. Prabhupada corrected him. And Prabhupada said, it's right in the transcription of his initiation event. Prabhupada spelled it Ramapada. And Aravind, I was there. He looked up at Prabhupada and said, it says here Romapada, and he spelled it one, word by letter by letter. And Prabhupada backed off, didn't make a big scene at that moment. Said, and they said Romapada. then he didn't give the meaning, as you know the meaning, the friend of Dasarath, another king, contemporary friend. He didn't give that meaning because he meant something else. So your question is there some other meaning? And, I'm giving elaboration on, I don't know of another meaning of any other Romapada than that king who is the friend of Dasarath. But that's not what Prabhupada said.
Apologies, Maharaj, if I ask
No,
wrong question.
it's I don't mind at all. I was astonished right before my eyes, correcting our spiritual master, right in a public assembly. It was very inappropriate. I mean, offensive. I mean, I was like shocked because he's probably, anyway, I look up to him and here he's doing this thing that you don't do stuff like this. And there's consequence. It wasn't just that one event. It was apparently a series of events. And he started, getting consequences for that familiarity. Behind you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So, Madhvacharyas, they especially worship Lord Hanuman.
Yes.
Yeah, Lord. But we Gaudiya Sampradayas, we coming from Madhvas, we really don't, I guess, how to put this?
It had the same emphasis.
Yeah. So
The mood has flowed from his to the current. And, so what's your question? It's an observation. It's correct.
Yeah, the question is like why we also don't, because we are coming from that same lineage.
But
why also?
his main deity is who.
Right. Yeah. Krishna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in his worship of Udupi Krishna, there's no Radha.
Right.
So we worship Krishna with Radha, not without Radha. Now, how did that happen? In the same disciplic line. Here's how it happened. Madhavendra Puri. Madhavendra Puri, by divine arrangement, was the grand spiritual master of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And so he, Madhavendra Puri, introduced a mood of a gopi feeling separation from Krishna in love. And there was a certain phrase in Sanskrit that he'd recite again and again and again, relishing the sweetness of that phrase of a gopi feeling the mood of love and separation from Krishna. And then, so that was passed on to Ishwar Puri, was passed on to Mahaprabhu. And then Mahaprabhu expanded it. But prior to Madhavendra Puri, it wasn't there. Now, is that allowable? One might ask. Is that, what's that? Sounds like a no. Not yes. But he's not just a fellow, Bhakta Madhavendra Puri. He's a great acharya that, following the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was bringing into the world, into the disciplic line, a certain mood. And he had that weight and that authority, and that's what he did. And for the purpose of preparing the ground for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to appear and do what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did. No, we can't do stuff like that. I mean, not that you're thinking that, but I'm making the statement. So we have a very special regard for personalities like Madhavendra Puri. when Gopal came to Madhavendra Puri and disclosed his deity form, etc., 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 and Madhavendra Puri then worshipped, it's not Radha Krishna, but Gopal. And the Gopal was placed on Govardhan Hill. We don't go on Govardhan Hill. And so there's things that, etc., 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 etc. And to this day, that Gopal is now Srinathji and not worshipped with Radha by the side of Srinathji. By a different sampradaya, without the details, the history. So the Vallabha followers are authorized to do what they do because they're acharyas. So the acharya establishes standard, and acharya can move a standard this way or that way, time, place, circumstance. With that, they have the adhikar, they have the qualification. 64 rounds became 16 rounds. Not wearing neck beads and having tilak until when it received mantra was the standard during the time of Bhakti Siddhanta, during the time of Bhakti Vinod Thakur. He was a Vaishnav giving, you know this history. I'll recite the history. He, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, super elevated Vaishnav, in Jagannath Ballabh Gardens giving Bhagavatam class every day, not wearing neck beads, not wearing tilak, but speaking Srimad Bhagavatam. And so there was a Babaji that took exception. What is this? No neck beads, no tilak, and reciting Srimad Bhagavatam. So he went on a fault finding, blah blah blah. He didn't go and confront him. He just did some gossiping, and he contracted a very serious disease, like a deadly disease. He was on his way to death. Without the history is there in Bhakti Vinod Thakur's life. Bhakti Vinod Thakur came to know both the vilification and his disease. And he went to the man and recommended a cure that cured the man, cured the Babaji. The Babaji then explained that I didn't understand who you are. And you weren't wearing neck beads, you weren't wearing tilak, and you're speaking the Bhagavatam. And Bhakti Vinod Thakur said, because I haven't found the person who is my Diksha Guru yet, but I have all faith in the Bhagavatam. So I wasn't wearing neck beads, and I wasn't wearing tilak. But after, and neck beads and tilak and everything else, and Brahmin thread and everything else, all the outer. But Prabhupada modified that. We have neck beads in our gift shop. And tilak, and and so forth. So he made that adjustment for time, place, circumstance. It's not a violation. There was a standard and a practice, and there was some, who knows, I don't know what Shastra there was from Hari Bhakti Vilas or what it was from. It's called Pancha Sanskar. It's a detail, just drilling on this particular point. There's procedure in Hari Bhakti Vilas for Diksha, and includes receiving tilak and receiving neck beads and a deity and a name. So the name part, the name part is there, but then there's a change of neck beads. So Prabhupada modified as an acharya, given the mission. Okay.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Yeah. Here comes the microphone.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj.
Yeah.
So you mentioned about Hanuman living all the way till the end of the universe. In this,
I can't hear you because the child's making noise.
okay.
So try again. Maybe the child will stop.
So Hare Krishna Maharaj, you mentioned about Hanuman living throughout the till the end of this universe, right? In this, but so I wanted to know whether is it each kalpa or is it at the end of the whole?
My understanding is the end of the universe. I may be wrong. My understanding of the end of the universe till the end of the universe. So there's partial annihilations. What happens during the partial annihilation? Right?
Yes.
I was waiting for that one. I don't have an answer, but he's protected. He may be in a special arrangement by the personality of Godhead till the end of the universe, and then everything is withdrawn. So what happens during the partial annihilation? I don't know.
Okay.
That's my understanding. Not just the day of Brahma is over.
Okay. So my understanding is that Lord Ramchandra appears in each kalpa. So I was wondering, Hanuman comes to this each time during the.
These are good questions. I don't have the answer. I'll try to find out the answer.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. So my question is there a specific reason why Hanuman came as a monkey?
Specific reason why there's competitive noise over here. Speak a little louder.
Is there a specific reason why Hanuman came as a monkey?
Why he came as a monkey? Yes. You want to know what that reason is?
Yes.
Okay. It was an instruction from Vishnu to uphold the word of Brahma that the demigods should create offspring with powers like theirs, but in species that were not included in the benediction given by Brahma to Ravana. I won't be killed by this, that, and the other thing.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
He didn't say monkeys.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, there is a question online.
Okay.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, when Srimad Bhagavatam is in the Shuddha Tattva, how can we honor and understand Ramayana carefully?
Well, it's as the question seems to be saying, the Bhagavatam is Shuddha Sattva, Ramayana isn't. That seems to be implied in the question. Is that what you read?
Yes, Maharaj.
I mean, not what the words are, but that seems implied?
Yes, seems to be implied.
Well, the answer is Valmiki was empowered. Valmiki was empowered as Vyas was empowered by the personality of Godhead. Valmiki was empowered to write Ramayana, and it's of the same caliber. Valmiki is the Vyas of Ramayana. He's qualified, not touched by the modes of nature. So it's Shuddha Sattva. Okay. Valmiki Ramayana is. The other Ramayanas, and they're not the same caliber. They're nice, but they're not the same caliber.
That's all.
That's it. Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Sri Ramachandra ki
Jai.
Gaur Premanandi.
Hari Hari Bol. Ki Jai.